The next level, pick up accountability for many results, let go of responsibility for a few results. The first time I heard the distinction between being accountable and being responsible was several years ago when I was doing a coaching project for an individual client and I was doing feedback interviews up and down the command chain. One of his bosses told me that guy needs to be less responsible and more accountable. I've never heard that distinction before, so I asked him to explain. He said, well, what he's doing is he's responsible for every little thing in his area. What he needs to do instead is be accountable for everything, for the results, without actually touching everything himself. That distinction between accountability and responsibility was one that I heard in the interviews that I conducted for the next level. And the way I think about it is this. Imagine that it's the difference between cutting your own grass or mowing your own lawn and owning a yard care service that cuts 100 yards a week. You know, there might be reasons that you like to cut your own grass. People might like the sense of satisfaction that comes from doing something in a set amount of time and seeing the results. But if you were to own that yard care service with 100 yards a week, there's no way that you can be personally responsible for all those yards, but you are accountable to your customers for the results that your teams, your yard crews are achieving. It's the same thing in business. You can't be personally responsible for everything at the executive level, but you are accountable for it. Two ways to make sure that happens. The first is to put systems and processes in place that allow you to sample the results. Things like regular reporting, regular meetings, regular pull-ups with your direct reports. You can think of your own ways to build in accountability on a systematic basis. The second key idea is to learn to take satisfaction from getting results through other people rather than on your own. A couple of years ago, I worked with a medical doctor, a brilliant researcher, world class in the field of metabolic disease. He loves to do research. And he told me in our very first session, I go home at the end of the day and I feel like I haven't done a darn thing. I said, well, why is that? He said, because I'm not doing any research, and that's what I love to do. I said, well, what are you doing instead? He said, I'm talking with teams all day who are doing research, 4 or 5 different teams that are doing research. I said, that's it. That's your work. And he was accountable for the results of those research teams. He was no longer responsible for doing the research himself. Take a lesson from that doctor. Pick up accountability for many results. Let go of responsibility for a few.